This is my sculpting for a better, stronger bottom routine, phase 1. You'll need your X-band loop, your resistance band loop for this one. And this sequence is really great at activating your bottom muscles. Your bottom muscles are the powerhouse muscles surrounding your pelvis. So it's really important that we strengthen those because they've been weakened during pregnancy. So let's get started. We're going to start with the bridge, lying on our back. Feet are shoulder width apart and the knees are shoulder width apart. The arms are by our sides with the palms turned up. You want to make sure you're in neutral spine. So just to remind you, that's where the top of the pelvis is in line and flat with the pubic bone. So you haven't arched your back off the floor and neither have you pushed your back into the floor, tucked under. So nice neutral position. The lower back muscles here are lightly brushing the mat. Squeeze the glutes together. The glutes are your bottom muscles, so you want to clench those and then lift your hips up off to the floor, coming right up onto your shoulders, keeping the palms turned up to the ceiling. We inhale lower, exhale lift, inhale lower, exhale lift. Try to keep the thighs and the inner thighs relaxed and really focus on targeting your bottom muscles here. You're really gonna feel this one. So we exhale as we lift, inhale as you lower. When you come back down with your back, just make sure you're kind of rolling through the spine. So the middle part of the back, the lower part of the back, then the tailbone comes down in that order so that you're not arching or thrusting up your ribs. And the breath is exhale as you lift, inhale as you lower. Exhale as you lift, inhale as you lower. Remember, the core connection breath is really important so we can activate that pelvic floor. As you lift, you purse your lips, you exhale, lift up the pelvic floor softly and gently, and the belly button, slight tension here. 2 more, 1 more. Now we're gonna hold it up here, wait for this. We're gonna pulse, so you're lifting your hips up and down, but a very small movement. What this does, these pulsing movements, is, and I incorporate them into a lot of my routines, is it really just fires up the muscle fibers, get those really contracting and lengthening again, really helps with the tone. And then inhale, lower. 1 more set here of 8. One more. Hold it up. And then here, we're going to turn the pelvis and go into the bridge with rotation. So we're going to turn the pelvis slightly so that you're turning, lifting your hip up and then lowering to the floor. And then as you lift and clench those bottom muscles together, you turn the left hip upwards and lower down. So you're adding in a rotation here. And what I love about this move is that we're now working the size of the waist. Okay, we're also again helping stabilize that pelvis. Getting the muscles all strong again around the pelvis so that you have more balance. And if you're having any lower backache, this will really help it. So tilting the pelvis up on the left here, down, and then up on the right. Be sure to make sure you're still clenching, okay, those bottom cheeks. 2 more, 1 more, and release it down. Now we're gonna roll on to the side for one of my favorite moves, the clam, and we're gonna target the outside of the bottom now. So lie right down on your upper arm, take your hand behind the back of your head, and then bring your hand just in front of you here. Bring your knees up towards the mat and tuck your toes and your feet behind you. So when you lift your feet up, your heels are directly in line with your bottom. You've got one hip on top of the other. Place your hand on your hip and then just open and close the top knee. Make sure your hips stay really still with this exercise. You want to avoid rotating back. So if you find that you are rotating back, just open and close that top knee a smaller amount. Okay, so it's a slightly narrower movement, but you must keep these hips really still. And, oh, I can feel this one already. It really helps target the outside of the glutes here. You might find if you're weaker on one side than the other, and most of us are, because we tend to use one side of the body more than the other, one side is stronger. You might find you feel it in the outside of the bottom cheek that's closer to the floor. We'll do 2 more, 1 more. And then rest, and we'll switch sides. So coming up, changing over. Resting right down on the upper arm, bringing the knees up, hand on the hip. Again, the feet are together, so you keep the ankles and the toes together, or the heels and the toes together. And with the breathing, exhale as you open the knee, inhale as you lower, so that you're again activating both pelvic floor and your core here. So you can see that as I exhale, I'm drawing my navel towards my spine. One more, and release. And then we're going to just come up to standing now, and we're going to take our X-band loop, our resistance band loop here, and step through the loop with both feet and take the loop right up to above the knees. So the position is right here. Make sure the loop is nice and flat, it's not wrinkled. That's more for comfort. And then standing with your feet roughly hip width apart, slightly wider, just place a little bit of resistance against the band by taking the knees out and coming into a half squat, so not too far down, just a half squat with your hands in front of you here. We're taking a little step to the right, little step to the left. And this one you'll really feel, it's so good, this one, for really, again, waking up these glutes, these bottom muscles. We're gonna take 2 steps now to the right and then 2 steps to the left. So 2 small steps, staying in that half squat position. As we're there, I want you to just, again, very softly lifting up the pelvic floor as if you're pulling a tissue out of a box, okay? And then just let it relax as well. So lifting up, and then as you come back to center, relaxing it, lifting up. You can feel those muscles really kicking in now. They get weaker during pregnancy, so it's really important we strengthen them again. After all the weight that you carried out in front of you, those bottom muscles, do weaken, especially all the muscles actually down the posterior chain, down through your back. Once more to the left, and then relax. So now we're gonna come to the mat, and we're gonna roll the mat up. We're gonna keep the band on our legs. Roll the mat up quite tightly, okay, all the way. Alternatively, you can use some books, A4 size books for this one. And we're going to step in front of the mat, place the heels onto the mat here. Again, your feet are about hip width apart. You're going to take your knees out so you can keep resistance in the band, and the hands are forward. We're going to sit back at the hips, squatting down and then coming back up. Inhale, exhale. So with these squats, we're not going too deep, but you must make sure that the breathing is at the right time. So as we lower, we inhale. Here, we're gonna exhale, draw navel in and lift the pelvic floor up softly. So remember, we're not clenching too much. We're just lifting that pelvic floor up as we draw the navel to the spine. You're sitting back at the hips, keeping the knees behind your toes with a focus on sitting back. As you lower down at this position, you want to squeeze your glutes as you're coming back up. 2 more, and 1 more. We're going to lower here, and we're going to pulse, just like we did on the first exercise. The pulse low down here. And magical for switching on those bottom muscles. 2 more, and exhale, come back up. And relax. I'm going to take the band off now. And well done, that was the end of the better bottom, stronger bottom sequence.